Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Mom's investment failed and asked me to pick up her best friend Yang Mi Reborn into a parallel world. Li Zhongnan became the son of Yang Mi's best friend and the crown prince of Jiaxing Media.Mom Chen Jia invested in Crude Oil Treasure and was caught up in it. In order to borrow money from Mimi to make up for the deposit, she restricted his son to take her within 3 days. After borrowing money, he went back and shorted international crude oil, make billions overnight. Yang Mi Chen, I always regard you as the best sisters. You want to be my mother.in.law. Reba. Mr. Chen, Miss Me only lent you 3 million, I'll lend you 10 million yuan. Can you ask Brother Zhongnan to date me for a few days? Teacher Lu. Sister Jia, I'll lend you 1 billion, just have a one-night romance with your son. Zhao Liying. I'm relatively thin. 30 minutes is enough. By the way, Sister Jia, I can change my contract to Jiaxing and I won't give you any money for filming in the future. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Is it very exciting for your best friend to call you mom? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Parallel World. Tianyuan Community, Yanjing City, the imperial capital. You're so young. So handsome, so strong. Thieves have a sense of immersion. Li Zhongnan stood in front of the mirror, showing a confident smile. I saw a tall and handsome young man inside, around 18 years old, with thick eyebrows and sword eyes, a dignified demeanor, and a sharp and angular face. He was extremely handsome. In his past life, he stood at 30, without a house, car, or job. After failing to raise funds and invest in stocks, he jumped off the rooftop and woke up in a parallel world. In this world, he went to Hunan to attend a martial arts school before graduating from junior high school. Just graduated yesterday. According to my mother's plan, he is required to sign with her film and television company, and then have Yang Mi take him on his debut, making every effort to turn him into a martial arts star. Oh, by the way, his mother's name is Chen Jia. She is the agent of Yang Mi, a top female celebrity in China, and last year she co-founded a company called Jiaxing Media. Teacher, could you lend me a few million to make up for the deposit? Last month, I bought 20 million crude oil treasures, but in just 1 month, the price of crude oil dropped from $42 per barrel to $28, and now it's almost losing half. 10 million of them are bank loans. Yesterday, the bank called and said that if we don't make up the margin, if the oil price drops a little more, we will have to forcibly close our positions. $28 per barrel, this price. It will definitely rise back. As long as you are willing to borrow. I can mortgage a portion of Jiaxing's shares to you. In the hall, there came a pleading voice. What's going on? Who is mom borrowing money from because her investment failed? Li Zhongnan was a bit curious and walked to the door to sneak a glance outside. I saw 2 beautiful young women sitting on the sofa, one of whom was 30.7 or 8 years old. Her eyebrows were thicker than those of ordinary women, and she was handsome, with a graceful figure that exuded the agility of a female leopard. Just a faint sadness between the eyebrows, inexplicably evoking pity. It's his mother, Chen Jia. The other one is around 30 years old and is one of the 4 little flower girls in China. Teacher Lu. It's so beautiful. Li Zhongnan was taken aback. I saw that Shiye had a stunning appearance and a worldly temperament, possessing both the white and tender skin of a young woman and the charm of a mature woman, while also embodying the elegance of an outsider in the mortal world. Sitting on the sofa with 2 legs. Cough. You can't watch too much, otherwise you'll have to daydream. I never expected that at the age of 30, he would become a wealthy second generation, with a beautiful rich mother, despite having nothing left. And Yang Mi and Lu Shishir are all her best friends. This I can't be any more satisfied. Sister Jia, with our relationship, I will definitely lend you money. You know, I just bought a house in Yanjing a few years ago and didn't have much money left. I also invested 10 million yuan in yuanbao, where can I borrow from you now? How about you ask Honey? Lu Shishi suggested. Honey. This girl must have money, it's just. Since childhood, she has always been a small financial fanatic and never borrows money from outside. She knows about my investment in Crude Oil Treasure, how could she possibly lend me money? Chen Jia frowned and smiled bitterly. Not to mention lending her money to invest in futures, but also partnering to start a company together, Yang Mi couldn't bear to give up a few dollars. In the end, she could only make a big move and hold 60% of Jiaxing's shares. Sister Jia, why don't we just use the handsome man trick? Isn't your younger brother Chen Hua always single? Tell him to take away his honey, and then you will become your own family. Borrowing money is just a matter of one sentence. Lu Shishi smiled and said. Chen Hua. If Mimi could have liked him, she wouldn't have waited until today. Chen Jia has a bad airway. Since Yang Mi was 18 years old, Chen Jia has been deliberately trying to match her and Chen Hua, and even killed Yang Mi because of this, never allowing other men to succeed. So far, she has never been in a relationship and is still a girl. Even so, I didn't take a liking to her brother. Your younger brother can't do it, so I'll call you son. Zhongnan, I just met him yesterday. This child is really getting more and more handsome, getting stronger, and his speech is very humorous. I'm sure he can handle Mimi. Teacher Lu chuckled and said. I'm not talking nonsense. Yesterday, I just glanced at him a few times and said a few words to him. This old lady's heart is still itching. Just mention Chen Hua, it's just to bring out her best friend's son, look at Chen Jia's reaction. If you don't resist Yang Mi and him, it means she, Teacher Lu humph. Damn you, what nonsense are you talking about? Xiao Nan, how old is he? This kid has just reached adulthood. Chen Jia has a bad airway. She divorced a long time ago, and her son Li Zhongnan is her darling. He has been raising her for 18 years. Now, should he go and give it to other women? Isn't that to cut a piece of meat off her body? Teacher Lu pursed his lips and said, Sister Jia, the children nowadays are all very precocious. Maybe he has already talked about many girlfriends outside. Besides, who should I sleep with instead of sleeping? The Mimi is so beautiful and also so wealthy. What are you sleeping for? Shifu, stop talking. Mimi is my good sisters. Chen Jia snorted. Although Lu Shishi's words are somewhat reasonable, when he thinks of his son and his best friend it feels so strange. Besides, Yang Mi is already 32 years old, how can she be worthy of her son? Yes, she is your sister's and a friend for more than 10 years. If your son gets along with her, she will become your daughter-in-law in the future and have to call you Mom when we meet. Jia, think about it, isn't it very exciting? Lu Shishi continued to encourage. Shiye has a thin skin. He is the son of a good sisters. He is really embarrassed to start. But if you could see him getting along with his best friend, it would also be a very exciting thing. And Yang Mi has made a bet with her that before she leaves single, her teacher Lu must remain single. 30 is over, I feel like a man is in pain. This. Chen Jia was moved by the sound. Previously, Yang Mi would listen to her everything, but in recent years, with her popularity, she has been prone to getting angry at her. If she could be asked to call her mom, no, it's not possible, my best friend turns into a daughter-in-law, how can I feel awkward? Sister Jia, like you, I firmly believe that oil prices will definitely rise sooner or later. There's no money to make up for the deposit. Lu Shishi stimulated himself. Upon hearing this, Chen Jia immediately broke through the defense and said, Teacher, do you think Central South really works? Although she thinks her son is excellent, there are not many women in the world who can match him, but when she thinks of Yang Mi's arrogance, she has no bottom in her heart. Otherwise, when he finishes borrowing the money, he can easily find an excuse to part ways. Anyway, you have no choice now. Why don't you let Zhongnan give it a try? If it's possible, please lend me some by the way. Lu Shishi said. My best friend's son is young, handsome, tall and powerful. If he takes the initiative to pounce on Shiye, she definitely unable to resist. Yang Mi, I really want to know if she will have a spring heart. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. I have no experience, why don't you give it to me, Shiye? You are listening at novelfull.audio. What the hell is that? Li Zhongnan was startled when he heard this. Did his mother lose? In order to borrow money from Demimi to replenish his position, he actually asked his son to sell his looks. This he likes it. In his past life, he particularly liked Yang Mi and often peeked at her photos in the bathroom. In this life, she became her best friend's son and lived in a building opposite her. No need to look at the photos, I just prepared a telescope. But even if he likes it, he just thinks about it for the past 18 years. After all, she is my mother's best friend. If she really acts directly, who knows if her 3 legs will be broken. Unexpectedly, due to being trapped in investment, my mother wants him to take action now. It's done well, it's done in seconds. International oil prices. Let me take a look. Li Zhongnan took out his phone and opened the Tonghuashan futures. This. Li Zhongnan just opened the software and accidentally clicked on a futures contract, which made him dumbfounded. I only saw its trend in the coming months, which directly appeared before me. After 18 years of rebirth, has the golden finger finally arrived? At present, he looked at several other futures contracts and some A.share stocks, and found that all the trends in the next 3 months could be checked in advance. I've made it, I'm going to make a big move now. As a professional investor in his past life, Nan Gu knew what this represented. With this special ability, as long as he is given a start-up capital, he will definitely be able to ascend to the throne of the world's richest person in a few years. By the way, take a look at the oil prices. Li Zhongnan suppressed his excitement and opened the contract for WTI crude oil 1405. The next moment, he was dumbfounded again. In the coming month, its price will continue to stabilize, rising slightly but not much. But a month later, it plummeted from $30 per barrel to $11, and on the settlement day of April 22, it plummeted rapidly in the last few hours. Finally, it fell below 0 yuan and stopped at $37 per barrel. Is this negative oil price? Absurd, it's really outrageous. Li Zhongnan immediately thought of the Crude Oil Treasure breakthrough event in another world. Is it the same thing that happened earlier? Crude Oil Treasure is a wealth management project launched by some domestic banks, which actually purchases international crude oil futures for customers. Recently, due to the impact of global influenza, geopolitical and short-term economic shocks, countless factories have had to shut down, and oil prices have been continuously declining. Many domestic investors, upon being recommended by banks, go on a buying spree and want to wait for oil prices to rise. But I didn't expect it to drop again and again, and now it has turned into $28 per barrel. In the future, continue to decline. And on April 22, at 22.00 Yenjing time, some capital on Wall Street took advantage of a loophole in a certain bank in China that could not close its positions after 10 p.m. to make crazy short trades. In the end, bulls stomped on each other, while bears contributed to the situation, causing oil prices to fall into a negative value. However, Huaguo Bank does not have the qualification for spot delivery and is engaged in investment futures. It cannot conduct spot delivery and can only acknowledge losses by holding its nose. Without leverage, customers who buy too much pay off their principal and still owe the bank a lot of money. It's really absurd. No more money can be invested. Close the position, dear mother, quickly close the position. Li Zhongnan put away his phone, pushed open the door, and walked out. Borrow money to make up for the deposit. At the final settlement, the price is negative. No matter how much we make up, we will end up losing out. Zhongnan, have you woken up from sleep? Just now. Did you hear what we said? Chen Jia is very guilty. Did he eavesdrop on the plan of this son of a dog to collude with his best friend? It's embarrassing. Well, I heard you. Mom, the price of crude oil futures will definitely continue to decline in the future. Especially for the WTI crude oil contract 1405, the final settlement date. Will fall below 0 yuan. If you don't close your position in time, you will lose all the principal and still owe the bank money. Hurry up and tie it, let's win when we lose less. Li Zhongnan advised. Falling below 0 yuan. What nonsense. Kid, do you not like your Aunt Yang? So you intentionally scared me. Chen Jia gave him a resentful glance. $28,000 per hand, in her opinion, is already at the bottom and cannot continue to fall. Negative oil prices are even more outrageous, something that has never happened in history. Who would believe it if it were said? My son resisted Yang Mi, and she was very pleased to be a mother, but your mother is short of money. Mother, my dear mother. Li Zhongnan experienced a headache. As a former professional investor, Chen Jia now has a clear understanding in his heart. At this point, she must have lost and her eyes turned red. It's hard for her to listen to his advice. Son, since you've heard it all, haven't you? Chen Jia burst into a seductive smile. She couldn't continue with the rest of the conversation. Zhongnan, Jia invested 20 million yuan, of which 10 million yuan was a bank loan. You won't watch her go bankrupt, will you? Hey, Sister Jia worked hard for over a decade and brought you up alone. Teacher Lu cooperated and said. I'm fine. Just if we don't make up the margin, if we drop a little more, the bank will have to forcefully balance it out. Hey, we can only sell the house to pay off the debt. No way, if I sell my house, there won't be any place to live in Central South. Let's still sell our good shares. Why can't I let my baby sleep on the streets? Chen Jia said pitifully. Is it a threat, or is it pretending to be pitiful? Do this with your son. Li Zhongnan gave her a white glance and said, all right, you should sell it quickly. It would be best if both the house and Jiaxing were sold. If it's not sold, you're my daughter. Are you? Teasing the old lady. Chen Jia was so angry at the words that he reached out and grabbed one of his ears. You little bastard, you have no conscience. I tell you, within 3 days, you must take Yang Mi. Oh bah, I borrowed money from her. Otherwise, I will immediately sever ties with you and break free from the mother-son relationship. I'm in a hurry. Mom is in a hurry. Li Zhongnan was overjoyed at the sight, but he cried and muttered, Your Majesty, it hurts. Hurry up and let go. I'll do it. I can't do it yet. Served with the order to brew big honey huh. Humph, that's pretty good. Chen Jia pouted and reluctantly released her hand. Poet, I. Li Zhongnan looked at Teacher Lu and said with a smile, I haven't been in a relationship before, I don't have any experience. How about you accompany me to practice martial arts first? You. Lu Shishir felt a wave of embarrassment. You don't have experience, do I have it? What are you thinking, kid? Honey and teacher, they are all my best friends. Chen Jia raised his hand and patted him on the head. My mother wants you to borrow money, not. Anyway, the Mimi won't be interested in you. Just show your shameless spirit, and if you don't want to borrow money, just cling to her. What if Aunt Mi really takes a liking to me? Impossible. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Promise me a condition, and I will lend you money. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Green Harbor, an open-air coffee shop. Li Zhongnan was leisurely brushing his phone when a fashionable lady suddenly walked towards him. Around 30 years old, she has a stunning appearance, a slightly plump body, wearing sunglasses, holding her head high, long legs and black stockings, and wearing high heels. Beautiful and sexy walking generates wind, with a strong aura. A few years no see, Big Honey is beautiful again. Li Zhongnan's secret passage. The person who came is Yang Mi, and time has not left many marks on her. This woman is really more charming as she gets older. Now she has a much stronger flavor than when she was young, and her whole body is filled with a youthful charm. Seeing him makes my heart itch. Zhongnan, are you? You. Yang Mi was taken aback when she saw him. Yesterday, Chen Jia said he would introduce her to a partner and directly praised them. I wish I had the appearance of myself. Due to her father urging her to get married every day and there being no filming in the past few days, Damami came. Unexpectedly, it was her son. What the hell, this? Honey, sit down. Li Zhongnan put away his phone and gave her a slight smile. Call auntie. Yang Mi gave him a white glance and sat across from him in anger. Cough, honey sister. Li Zhongnan cleared his throat and just started calling him sister, but Yang Mi looked up at him, her beautiful eyes unblinking. He felt dizzy for a moment, so he quickly changed his mind and said, Aunt Yang, what kind of coffee do you have? I won't drink coffee anymore. If there's anything, just tell me directly. Yang Mi said. The tone is light, but there is no doubt about it. How can we talk this day? Li Zhongnan gritted his head and said, borrow money. Aunt Yang, it was my mother who forced me to come. Don't misunderstand, I'm not interested in you. Although I really want to flirt, the Mimi's attitude, it's better not to do it anymore. We need to continue hiding our love for her, so as not to startle the snake too early. Why should I borrow it? Yang Mi asked. It's not that I dislike this child, on the contrary, I really like it. Now it's just a subconscious answer. All along, no matter who wants to borrow money from her, she always says this sentence. Sister Jia said, if I can't borrow money, I'll keep pestering you 24 hours a day. Li Zhongnan sold his mother directly. Anyway, to be honest, if Damami refuses to borrow money, there will be an excuse to keep pestering her. If I borrow, I happen to lack a startup fund. You. This guy. Yang Mi couldn't help but laugh and cry. Isn't this kid a little too silly? So, it was Chen Jia who invested in Crude Oil Treasure at a loss and felt embarrassed to borrow money from her, so she asked her son Say to lure her. This when she thought of the word seduction, her face couldn't help but turn red. This little milk dog, oh no, it should be said to be a little wolf. It's really too strong. At this moment, he exudes a strong aura all over his body, and his gaze at her is full of aggression. Well, it feels a bit however, he is too young and the son of his best friend. You can't just daydream. Tell me, how much do you want to borrow? If other men dared to threaten her like this, they would definitely splash water on his face in the first place. But this kid, a newly grown boy, so silly, and I used to sleep with him every day when I was a child, unable to get angry. My mother wants to borrow it, not me. Li Zhongnan corrected. Why, Sister Jia thinks I lack love so much that just a little kid can crush me. Yang Mi has a habit of self-deprecating. Then he said again. If your mother wants to borrow money, go back and ask her to tell me by herself. Forget it, don't say anything. Anyway, I won't borrow money from outside. If you want to pester me because of this. Auntie, I can't even be happy in time. In recent years, when you went to Hunan to study, you were not by my side, and I still feel a bit uncomfortable. Lend money to Chen Jia for investment. I really can't do it. If there is one, there are two. This mouth cannot be loosened. Even though she also felt that the price of crude oil would eventually rise back, even in her heart, Chen Jia has always been her own sister. No, what does it mean to be just a little kid? Auntie, you're insulting people too much. Li Zhongnan snorted. Auntie. My young master, are you angry now? Yang Mi scraped at him with a resentful remark. Although she was a dozen years younger than her, and even though she was her best friend's son, this title still sounded a bit harsh. Aunt Yang, Aunt Mi, can't you just call one of them? You asked me to call it that way. Li Zhongnan snorted. Yang Mi choked at the words and said, all right, Auntie said the wrong thing. Auntie apologizes to you. All right, if you promise Auntie a condition, Auntie will lend you a few million. How's it going, my young master? Can you remove the word small? Li Zhongnan gave her a white glance and said, honey, what do you say? I need a bodyguard, and you happen to have practiced martial arts. If you promise to be my bodyguard and sign a 10-year contract, I will lend you 3 million. Yang Mi said. This is not a bad principle, let's just prepay his salary in advance. And once she becomes her bodyguard, this child can no longer be an artist and not from a professional background, but Jia insists on praising him, it's really speechless. In recent years, for almost every drama, Mi has to bring a few newcomers, my heart is tired. No problem, you can give me the money. Li Zhongnan didn't even think about it and immediately agreed to speak. Let's get the money first. As for being a bodyguard, I've thought too much about this woman. In her previous life, Nangu was a 996 social animal. In this life working is impossible anymore. Even if the boss is a big honey, he has loved the goddess countless times in his dreams. Okay. Yang Mi asked him for his card number and immediately gave him 3 million. Thank you, Aunt Mi. After receiving the money, Li Zhongnan gave her a sweet smile. Startup funds, we have it. You are welcome. Quickly transfer to Sister Jia and tell her that she wants to be my bodyguard. Yang Mi urged. Okay, Aunt Mi, Li Zhongnan casually said, taking out his phone and opening a futures trading software, all of which were transferred in at 300,000 yuan. Give the money to Mom. His mind hasn't been flooded again. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Earning in a month 20 million. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the next month, there won't be much fluctuation in crude oil prices. Look at other products. Li Zhongnan opened the futures software and immediately checked the trend of crude oil prices. Although on April 22, 2 months later, the price of WTI crude oil 1405 will drop below 0 yuan, the trend in the next month is expected to stabilize, with not much fluctuation. Before that, we need to look for other investment opportunities. Cotton, the commodity with the highest price fluctuations in the domestic and international futures markets in the next month, Li Zhongnan spent about 10 minutes reviewing dozens of futures and drawing this conclusion after comparing them. On the New York Stock Exchange, cotton prices will rise by about 50% in the next month. Meanwhile, the domestic East China Sea Exchange rose by 70%. From 14,000 yuan per ton, it skyrocketed to around 24,000 yuan. Just cotton, swoha. Li Zhongnan was very excited and immediately closed his eyes to open his position by more. Contract name. Cotton 1405 available/total warehouse. 420/420 type. Buy duo average opening price. 70500 profit and loss per transaction 0.3067.88 floating profit ratio 0.10% deposit. 3 million, 70% of 3 million. Can I earn 2.1 million in a month? No, there's a lever inside. Li Zhongnan finished the operation and began to estimate. 1 hand of cotton is 5 tons, and now he has bought 420 hands, which is 2,100 tons. The price of 1 ton is around 14,000 yuan, which means the total price is over 29 million yuan. Nearly 10 times the leverage. You can earn it in a month about 20 million. Zhongnan, won't you treat me to a cup of coffee? Yang Mi finished paying him and immediately wanted to find an excuse to leave. However, after seeing him receive the money, he kept staring at his phone for more than 10 minutes without looking up. Feeling depressed, actually ignoring her. Oh, just call me whatever you want, I'll pay. Li Zhongnan Haodao. Compared to 20 million, what is a cup of coffee worth? You. Yang Mi couldn't help but start grinding her teeth. At first, she licked her smile and kept saying, sister, but as soon as she borrowed money, she became an old man without even looking at her. Are you really treating her like a scapegoat? Damn it. Think of biting him to death. Unexpectedly lost several thousand yuan. I don't know, will my participation in the transaction affect its trend? Li Zhongnan took a look at his position and saw that his account was in a floating loss state. He was a bit worried and then checked the future trend of cotton 1405 again. Before I entered, today's closing price was 71,400 yuan per hand, but now upon closer inspection, it's 71,488 yuan. It seems that with my participation, it has indeed had a certain impact. But it's not a big problem. The price trend in the next month has not changed much, and the highest point is 120,000 yuan per hand. Li Zhongnan's hanging heart fell instantly. After he participated in the trading, the closing price today increased by 88 yuan, which was caused by his long position. If short selling, should it be a bit less? That is to say, the impact is limited, and there are rules to follow, the golden finger will not fail. Are you actually playing futures? Yang Mi couldn't help but curious as she saw him just casually passing her a sentence. She reached out to see what he was doing. Right now, there's a burst of anger. This kid, surprisingly, took her money and invested it in the futures market. Yes, I bought cotton for all 3 million. Additionally, I have leveraged it tenfold. In the next month, domestic cotton futures prices will skyrocket. 70%. Can earn 20 million. Li Zhongnan was very excited and couldn't help but share his operation with Demimi. 10 times the leverage. Are you crazy? Yang Mi exclaimed in surprise. She doesn't quite understand futures, but she knows that the risk is greater than stocks. And stocks, it is said that on average, only 1 out of 10 investors can make money. Buying futures is equivalent to throwing money directly into the water. Honey, I'm not crazy. I have insider information, I'm sure I'll make money. Believe me once, why don't you follow me and invest 1 million? Li Zhongnan advised. There are not many opportunities for him to increase by 70 points in a month, and his capital is just that fat and water don't flow into outsiders' fields. I really want Big Honey to make a big profit with me. I'm not buying it. When Jia bought, Crude Oil Treasure, she also told me that she would definitely make a profit and asked me to invest with her. Now, without leverage, she lost almost half of her money in a month. Zhongnan, hurry up and sell it, then give the money to Jia, or return it to me. Otherwise. Yang Mi glared angrily at him, grinding her teeth and threatening. Not for sale. Auntie, you have already lent me the money. What should I use it for? It's my freedom. No big deal, when I make money, I'll pay you double. Li Zhongnan said. You. Yang Mi was so angry that the air in front of her fluctuated. I'm not willing to lend money to Chen Jia because I'm afraid there will be 2 out of 1, but after all, she is a close and good sisters for more than 10 years. She can't bear to see her go bankrupt overnight, so she has to borrow her several $1,000,000 from her son to make up the position. Unexpectedly, this kid is actually using chicken feathers as a pawn. Lend it to him. If it weren't for borrowing it for his mother, how could Big Honey be so happy? Damn it. Zhongnan, listen to your aunt and quickly level it up. Stocks, futures, these are all played by professionals and capital tycoons. As retail investors, we can only go in as leaks and are destined to be harvested. You're still young, be more down-to-earth. Yang Mi suppressed her anger and gave him a gentle smile. This kid is just 18 years old and still in a rebellious period. He should be eating soft instead of hard. I need to tell him well. Damn me, I am a professional. Li Zhongnan swore confidently. Not to brag, he has golden fingers and must be incredibly professional. You. Do you want to eat hard or soft? Yang Mi felt a wave of hatred in her heart and picked up her phone to call Chen Jia. Sister Jia, I just lent 5 million to Zhongnan. Yes, 2 million cash, 3 million transfer. 5 million, 2 million in cash. Why are you lying without blinking an eye? Li Zhongnan was speechless for a moment. Woman, you are indeed a stingy animal. Even if it's as beautiful as honey, it's no exception. Is this Chen Jia trying to twist his ear? I've always been a liar. However, when I call my sister, it's my freedom to say anything. Do you think so? Yang Mi's lips curled up with a proud curve. Fighting with auntie. It's a bit tender, kid. Doodle suddenly, his phone rang. Go ahead. It should have been your mother calling. Quickly explain to her that it was your Aunt Yang who lied to her. Tell her, I only borrowed 3 million from you. Yang Mi ran a run on the road. Sorry, my phone is out of battery. Li Zhongnan shut down directly. Just to explain, just this matter, between my best friend and son, my mother must believe in the former. Moreover, there is no need to explain why she doesn't intend to transfer any money to her. I have a power bank here. Yang Mi took out a power bank and handed it to him with a smile. Auntie, thank you. However, my phone. I don't plan to charge it for a month. Also, I won't be going home or your studio during this period. I'm leaving, see you in a month. Li Zhongnan smiled at her and got up before walking out. Yang Mi looked at it with a burst of hatred. When the losses are over, I'll see if you can still laugh. If you don't listen to the old man, you will eventually suffer losses. Humph. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. 4 billions short WTI crude oil. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Li Zhongnan left the CAFA and headed straight to a friend's house. His phone. I couldn't help but pull out my phone card. Eating, sleeping, playing games. A month passed quickly. During this period, major cotton-producing regions around the world suffered from natural disasters, resulting in severe production reductions and supply shortages, with futures prices continuing to skyrocket. One morning, as soon as he woke up, he opened the futures software to check his holdings. Contract name: Cotton 1405 type. Buy duo available / total warehouse. 420/420 average opening price. 70500 profit and loss per transaction. 2016867 floating profit ratio. 668.62% deposit. 3 million floating profit. 2016 million. In a short period of time, it's almost the highest point, and we can close the position today. Li Zhongnan decisively dismantled many single and flat items. Half an hour later, all transactions were completed. The account balance suddenly turned into 23 million. 1 month profit 20 million, more than 6 times the profit. After breakfast, head straight to Yang Mi's studio. Good morning, Mr. Li. As soon as he walked in, a girl greeted him with a smile. Yes, Li Shirue, a female artist from Yang Mi studio, looks very pure and beautiful at the age of 27 or 8, with an estimated appearance score of 85. Li Zhongnan smiled happily and said, Good morning, Sister Shirue. Why, after losing all the money, are you willing to show up? In addition to Li Shirue, there is also a fashionable lady in the public office. It's Yang Mi. Aunt Yang, I'm sorry, I'm lucky and earned 20 million. Li Zhongnan said with ease. Did you really make 20 million? Yang Mi was taken aback and immediately opened a computer web page, entering cotton futures in the search box. Start searching. The next moment, she was stunned. The price of cotton had really increased by 70%. This child is a bit too divine, isn't he? 20 million yuan, paid taxes. Yang Mi began to calculate. Auntie, don't forget it. The profits from futures and stocks, transaction fees, and stamp duty are very low, and the profit is less than 1 point. Li Zhongnan interrupted her with a smile. Ah. So, you made a net profit of 20 million. Yang Mi said with envy. Now she is considered one of the top domestic artists, ranking among the top 10 in the entertainment industry in terms of income. But last year, I filmed 7 or 8 dramas and worked hard, earning no more than 40 million yuan after tax. And he doesn't have to do anything, he just invested 3 million and earned half of that number in a month. It's a bit too exciting, isn't it? If I had listened to him at that time, I would have followed suit and invested 10 or 20 million. I can't think anymore, otherwise I'll regret it to death. Yes, net profit of 20 million. Li Zhongnan smiled happily and said, Aunt Mi, what is your card number? I will return the money to you. Well. Don't worry, you sign the contract first. You can pay back the money anytime. Yang Mi flicked her hair and gave him a charming smile. Immediately, take out a piece of paper and hand it to him. After filming for so many years, she has actually saved a lot of money, and now she has a small treasury of about 100 million. For her, 3 million is just a small sum of money. Compared to leading him to debut, he is more inclined to don't take this loan anymore. Okay, I'll sign it. Li Zhongnan brought it over and saw that it was a contract for hiring a bodyguard. Without even checking his salary, he immediately signed his name. There's no need to consider it at all. You can always copy her and get fired. And keep 3 million, after a period of time, you will definitely earn a lot more. You don't even have to take a look, and you're not afraid it's a sales contract. Yang Mi was very satisfied with the situation. Just like before, there is blind trust in her aunt. Honey, you love me so much. Li Zhongnan joked, even if you sell me one day, you will definitely find a beautiful and gentle female buyer like you. Humph, stop talking nonsense. Your honey aunt's beauty is an ironclad fact that requires you to praise. This time. It's your luck, but it doesn't mean you'll have the same luck next time. Hurry up, give the money to your mother quickly, crude oil prices seem to be starting to rise. Yang Mi urged. Although last time he didn't listen to advice, she felt a bit angry and wanted to see his expression of regret after losing money, but she made Mi is actually happier. At least in this way, Chen Jia won't borrow money from her anymore. That won't work. If I transfer it to her, I will definitely use it all to replenish the position. And crude oil prices, although they stabilized last month, are definitely going to plummet this month. Next, I plan to buy all WTI crude oil. Aunt Mi, do you want to operate with me? Li Zhongnan asked. Buy it all out, you. Give me back 3 million first. Yang Mi was originally going to say that you don't be like this, but just thinking about the last time I advised him to close his position, it almost cost him 20 million less. What if oil prices really fall sharply this month? Even his aunt, I reckon this kid will blame her. He can only go. However, she needs to get back 3 million and cannot be left to be wasted by him. Didn't you say it wasn't urgent? Honey, you're not afraid that I might lose, are you? I've said it all, I'm a professional, why don't you believe me now? Okay, keep 3 million yuan in my account and consider it as my investment for you. When the time comes, how much will I earn and then transfer it to you? Li Zhongnan proposed. No, oil prices are starting to pick up, and now it's already $30 per barrel. If you want to help me invest in crude oil, I definitely need to buy more. Yang Mi said. The price of crude oil used to be generally above $70 per barrel, but now it is less than half. How can there be any reason to continue short selling? This kid made 20 million last time. Sure enough, it's lucky. Okay, I'll transfer it back to you now. Li Zhongnan gave a bitter smile and took out 3 million yuan to return it to her. After all, he was just 18 years old and had never attended college. His mother Chen Jia couldn't convince him, let alone the always independent Big Honey. Let's talk about it later. 3 million yuan was transferred back to her, and the remaining 20 million yuan was all exchanged for dollars. The current exchange ratio between US dollars and Chinese yuan is 7.5.1, and the final result is around 2.66 million US dollars. Opening international crude oil positions and directly leveraging the platform's maximum leverage, financing nearly 20 times buy it all out. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Nangu moves his fingers to help you earn a few. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the trading platform he chose, the initial margin for first-hand crude oil on that day was $1,400, while a maximum of 1777 positions can be opened for 2.66 million. In an hour, all transactions were completed. Contract name. WTI crude oil 1405 type. By short available/total warehouse. 1777/1777 average opening price. $30,180 profit and loss per transaction plus $39200 floating profit ratio plus 0.10% deposit. $2,666,403 US dollars. Take a look at the price trend. On the morning of April 22, 1 month later, the market opened at a price of $12 per barrel, $12,000 per hand. 30,000 to 12,000, you can earn $18,000 with just one hand. So, even if I close my position on the evening of April 21, I can still make a profit. My position is 1,777 hands, which is 319,8600 US dollars. How much is it in Chinese yuan? Around 2.4 billion yuan. Sleeping slot, so crazy. After Li Zhongnan opened his position, he immediately took a look at the future trend. I roughly estimated in my mind, I'm just dumbfounded. Investing 20 million yuan can earn nearly 2 billion yuan in a month. Robbing banks is not as crazy as it is. Violence, it's too violent. More than 2 billion yuan, as far as he knows, Jiaxing Media's total revenue was only 150 million yuan last year. And the profit is only over 8 million. This I made it, really made it. Did you really turn it back to me? Yang Mi hesitated for a moment, ready to give up before borrowing this 3 million from him. I didn't expect him to repay her so easily. I don't like owing people money, especially women. Li Zhongnan said. What kind of woman? You little brat, I'm you. Auntie. Yang Mi has a bad airway. Unconsciously, this child has grown up and is now taller than her. It is obvious that she has transformed from a little boy to big boy. Even a man. So handsome, there must be many little girls who like it, maybe they've been around for a long time. Cough, what are you thinking? Yes, you are my aunt, even more intimate than my own mother. Miss, you treat me the best. Li Zhongnan chuckled and said. Borrowing him a few $1 million in one go, and risking his hatred, I earnestly advised him as a gambler to be down to earth. The Mimi really has nothing to say about him. I said, you have to call me Auntie. If there's no big or small thing in the future, I'll ignore you. Yang Mi pouted and said. Although this child is called sister, as an old aunt, she is happy from the bottom of her heart. But in this way, the Mimi has become shorter than Chen Jia's generation. Not right. Got it, honey, auntie. Li Zhongnan smiled and said. Well behaved. Yang Mi happily flicked her hair and said with a charming smile, Auntie will keep these 3 million yuan. When you finish losing money, I'll borrow it from you. Li Zhongnan gave him a white glance and said, Auntie, are you just hoping for me to lose? Well, don't be angry, handsome guy. I just like you owing me this woman. Yang Mi chuckled. This child's angry appearance is so handsome and cute, why didn't you notice it before? De Mimi, this tone of voice is unbearable for Nan Gu. His bones are all crispy. Li Zhongnan didn't dare to look at her too much. Humph, let's go to the next life. Leaving this sentence, he walked into the CEO office. Open my mom's computer, play Happy Landlord, and figure out how to persuade her to close her position in short crude oil in reverse when she returns home. Squeak. A 21-year-old girl pushed the door open and walked in with high heels and long legs. Tall figure, beautiful appearance with exotic delicacies, it's still Reba. Young master, I heard that you invested in futures and earned 20 million yuan in a month. You are so amazing. The girl looked at him with admiration, her expression and tone very exaggerated. Li Zhongnan was used for a while and humbly said, Fat aunt, it's just luck. What chubby aunt? It sounds so unpleasant. Call me sister. Reba was dissatisfied for a moment and said with a mouthful. Li Zhongnan exclaimed, Okay, fat sister. You hate it so much, intentionally teasing others, don't you? Reba raised her hand and slapped him. Fat sister, listen, just like the aunties selling salted fish in the market. What are you doing? Young master, are you too bored? Are you actually fighting against the landlord? Blow him up quickly. Do you know how to play? Reba glanced at her and couldn't help but mutter. Sister, you're watching me fight against landlords. Isn't it more boring? Li Zhongnan gave her a glance. What, they heard that young master you made money by buying futures, so they wanted to follow you and earn some money to buy snacks and so on. Humph, I heard from Sister Shirue that you just took Sister Me to play. Young master, you can't favor one over another. They also want to play with you. Reba hugged one of his arms and swayed to act coquettishly. Sister, can we be normal? Zhongnan couldn't bear it for a while and just operated, deliberately separating the words. Make him fantasize. I want to make money, why is it abnormal? Reba snorted and said, young master, just tell me how to buy it. Do you believe me like this? Zhongnan exclaimed in shock. Of course, young master, you are so handsome and powerful. Sister must believe you. Buy whatever you say, sister. Reba chuckled. Upon hearing this, Zhongnan felt a burst of joy and said, all right, you can transfer the money and Nangu will help you with the operation. Chen Jia, his mother, didn't believe him, and Mimi didn't believe him, and this girl worships him like this. It's precious and precious, Nange, just use his fingers and try to help her earn a few $100 million. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Reba's Fierce Operations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Young master, I have already opened securities and futures accounts. Just tell me how to buy it. I won't trouble you anymore. Reba picked up her phone and looked at him eagerly. Okay, WTI crude oil contract 1405, buy it short. Zhongnan smiled and said, Sister D, if you make money then, remember to treat me to dinner. Reba nodded suddenly and said, no problem, I'll cook for you myself. She picked up her phone and started operating it. All right. 10 million, maximum leverage. Buy all short. Operation completed. Zhongnan hesitated for a moment and said, true or false, have you bought so much? This girl has only been in the industry for a few years, and she hasn't had a big success yet. In many dramas, the actors are mostly female. Third and fourth, he has looked at the company's finances and knows exactly how much money she has earned over the years. Paid taxes, it's only over 15 million. And not long ago, she also bought a house for her parents in her hometown. Have you put all your savings on deposit now? 20 times the leverage. As long as the oil price rises by 5 points, from $30 per barrel to $31.50, we have to sell out. Of course, my sister trusts you immensely, just like believing that she can definitely catch up with Miss Me in the future. Young master, do you believe me? Reba lifted her chin and looked at him, giving him a discharge. Believe it. Sister Reba, you are younger, more beautiful, with longer legs than Yang Mi, and your acting skills are a few blocks away from her. You will definitely be hotter than her in the future. Well, I'm not. Beauty is in the eyes of a lover, but I'm saying it very seriously. Zhongnan said seriously. If you flatter me, it won't cost you any money. I must lick it to death. One day she licked and felt happy, but she might have automatically undressed. Lovers come from the West. Humph, if you hate it so much, you know how to use others to cheat. Besides, she's not as good as you said, Mississippi. It seems like you're right, she's just a billion points bigger than her somewhere. Hee hee. Brother Zhongnan, since you think so. Cough, can you tell Mr. Chen that one day you will arrange for me to have a female lead in a large-scale production? Reba Dang smiled and said. It's been over a year since signing with Jiaxing, and she hasn't even played the female lead role once. It's necessary. When I go back, I'll tell her that if she doesn't agree, I'll pay for you myself. Zhongnan said happily. This border girl is so beautiful, her legs are so long, and her speech is so pleasant, especially when she calls out, Brother Zhongnan, she makes her whole body beautiful. A major production, it's probably only a few $100 million. What a small joke. Besides, in another parallel space, Fat D is really going to catch fire, and within a few years, his popularity will be directly following Big Honey. Praising her won't hurt. Thank you. Reba was excited for a moment, and with a sizzle, she took a bite on his cheek. Immediately blushing with embarrassment, she twisted her waist and walked away. Don't forget to turn back when you're done. Young master, it's settled. Don't go back on your word. Definitely. Zhongnan touched his cheek and gave a sweet silly smile. I have been single for 30 years in my past life, but in this life after reaching adulthood, it seems like Fat D kissed her. Feeling I don't feel much, it's too fast. I wish I could do it again. Dilraba, I didn't expect you to be such a woman. It's really shameless. For the sake of being read, surprisingly. Deceiving a simple little boy. After Reba walked out, she immediately covered her faces. Keep stomping your feet. In the entertainment industry, many female artists spare no effort to climb the ranks, but Pengdi just licked her boss a few words and casually kissed his cheek. He is so young and handsome that he doesn't feel ashamed or at a disadvantage. Just I feel like he's too kind, he shouldn't be like this. If one day this child falls in love with her and is so infatuated that she cannot extricate herself, I don't want to, the boat will naturally straighten at the bridgehead. As long as Chen Jia agrees, it seems that it is not impossible. After all, it is only 3 or 4 years older than him. Flat. Reba paused for a moment and took out her phone to open the future software. Close the position directly. Done, it seems like we've made a profit 120000. I'm really a smart person. Not only did I win the young master's favor, but I didn't lose any money and instead earned over 100,000 yuan. Jia only has one son and has always been very precious. As long as this child is willing to speak to me, she will definitely give me all her support. Reba felt a burst of joy in her heart. Yes, I shamelessly approached him just to win his favor, not to make money with him. An 18-year-old boy, what do you know about investing? How could crude oil drop again at $30 per barrel? At noon. As soon as Zhongnan walked into the house, he saw Chen Jia sitting on the sofa, holding his legs and rolling his body, looking tired, with dark circles under his eyes, a wave of heartache. Mom. During the month of disappearance, my mother was probably worried to death and didn't sleep a whole day. A bit of a jerk, he. Son, are you willing to come back? A month, you've been shutting down for a whole month, you son of a dog. I smoked to death. Chen Jia was overjoyed to see him. Then he stood up suddenly, took 2 out of 3 steps and ran towards him, raising his hand to slap. Don't slap your face. Zhongnan was frightened and covered his face with both hands. No fighting. Chen Jia immediately hugged him and grabbed his neck, pulling him into his arms. Hold on to tightly. Just come back. As long as you're okay, Mom, I can do anything. As he spoke, he buried his head in tears. For 18 years, their mother and son have relied on each other and have been together almost every day. Even during his 3 years of studying abroad, he still videos several times a day. It's been a month now, thinking about this dead son is driving me crazy. I think while eating, when sleeping, when daydreaming, if he didn't know, he was deliberately avoiding her, maybe he would have called the police long ago. Why are you crying? I'm not doing well. Zhongnan was being strangled, a bit uncomfortable, and as he spoke, he gently pushed her away. I didn't cry, I was just too happy. Baby, you know how worried my mom is about you, how much she misses you. Really, she's going crazy these days. Chen Jia brought it over again. Mom, I've grown up and you look like this. Zhongnan felt very embarrassed. Once, after helping him take a shower and discovering something unusual, his mother never hugged him again. It's been 7 or 8 years. It's really a bit awkward to have such a sudden appearance. What are you thinking? No matter how old you are, aren't you also my mother's son? Chen Jia felt angry for a moment and raised his hand to hit him on the head. Isn't that what you said before, de nyang. Li Zhongnan chuckled foolishly. That didn't make you hide from me for a month, did it? Chen Jia gave him a resentful glance and snorted, your honey aunt borrowed 5 million from you, and now you're almost at a loss, right? What's wrong with learning? You must learn from me to buy futures. It's really my seed. 5 million. Forget it, after a while, the oil price will rise again, and my mom will sell her crude oil treasure to help you return the money to honey. P.S. Apart from the flowers sent by the website, hasn't anyone voted for one? May I ask for a fresh flower? As long as someone throws one today. Tomorrow is 10 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Son, you have to be responsible to honey. You are listening at novel full.audio. When oil prices rise back, Li Zhongnan was speechless for a moment. My dear mother, I didn't lose a penny, but instead earned 20 million. Can't you just listen to me once? Closing the position, oil prices are about to plummet soon. Did you really make 20 million? Chen Jia was very surprised. Yes, I bought cotton, 10 times the lever. If you don't believe it, you can ask Demi Aunt Me, she saw it when I bought it. Your son is amazing. Li Zhongnan said with ease. Believe it, definitely believe it. My son is not only impressive, but also handsome. Hee, baby, quickly transfer the money to me, 20 million. That's great, I need to pay the deposit, continue to open positions and buy more, and reduce the cost of holding positions. Chen Jia exclaimed excitedly. Well, my dear, can you be more reliable? Li Zhongnan felt helpless for a moment and said, Mom, Crude Oil Treasure should not have leverage, right? I can just buy futures and open 20 times the leverage. The oil price is so low, it will definitely rise. Forget it, I can't persuade her. Anyway, she bought 20 million yuan and now she's losing almost half of it. Let her go, don't think about his pockets. Yes, it will definitely rise. On the futures platform, leverage can be used 20 times. It's a bit high, son. Let's be more stable and open 2 or 3 times. Chen Jia was a bit excited, but also a bit worried. 20 times the leverage, you only need to lose 5 points to close your position, the risk is too high. Li Zhongnan nodded and said, okay, I'll listen to you and drive twice. Worried that she might have to watch him operate, he quickly added, hey, I'm so hungry. Hey, you're so good. Chen Jia patted his face and smiled happily, if you're hungry, you'll rest first. Mom, I'll give you something to eat below. After speaking, he turned around and walked into the kitchen. After dinner, Chen Jia cleared his throat and said, cough, son, your honey aunt. How could she lend you money so quickly? You is there. A month ago, he had just arranged a blind date with Yang Mi. Shortly after, the latter called her and told her to lend him 5 million yuan. It went so smoothly that I have to suspect that Yang Mi has long been thinking about her little sweetheart. Everything happened to us. Li Zhongnan rambled aimlessly. He has always longed for Demimi in his heart, and he definitely wants to take her in the future. And Mom is bound to be one of the biggest obstacles. May I take this opportunity? Play first and then slay. How could you be like this? This is too absurd. Chen Jia is so angry that he fluctuates in front of him. One is young and handsome, tall and powerful, while the other is in his 30s, like a wolf, like tiger. It's like burning dry firewood. Although I was a little prepared, I heard his answer angry, uncomfortable. One is her precious son, and the other is her best friend. As for whether her son was lying, she had no doubt about it. Yang Mi had always regarded her as the eldest sister, but she never refused to lend her money. And he borrowed 5 million in one go. It must be hey, my heart is blocked. I've been raising it for 18 years. Mother, you asked me to borrow money from her. Li Zhongnan spread his hands and said. You little bastard, are you still having trouble? Chen Jia immediately reached out a hand and twisted his ear. I made it clear that I wanted you to borrow money from her, not from her. You just want a woman. You want to date someone. There are a lot of young ladies in the company, so which one doesn't work? Why do you have to talk to Honey? How old is she? She's 30.2 years old, she's 14 years older than you. Son of a bitch, you really want to anger me to death. Li Zhongnan remained unmoved and said with a playful smile, Mom, I just like big things. Big things are good, big things don't work, big things hurt people. You. Chen Jia twisted his jade hand in the ear and suddenly increased his strength. Li Zhongnan, it's not enough for you to have a mother, but now you want to find a second one. I was 14 years old, and it's really enough to be his mother. Mom, please be gentle. Li Zhongnan cried and exclaimed, it hurts me so much. I was wrong, I promise, I won't see Mimi again in the future. Is that okay? Is it possible not to see her in the future? Unless you don't even see me anymore. This matter. This is my pot, you have to take responsibility to your Aunt Honey. Chen Jia hesitated for a moment and spoke like this. What is it? Responsible. What era is this? Men are happy and women are in love, each taking what they need. It's just that. Aunt Mimi is so old, I'm not looking for a second mother. Li Zhongnan pretended to be aggrieved and said, I got a bargain and acted obedient. He knows his mother very well and knows that she is very traditional. Once it is believed that he has a relationship with Big Honey, he will definitely be held accountable to the end. That's why I just forced myself to lie. Sure enough, you bet right. Humph. This matter cannot be discussed, you must listen to me. Son, you know, your honey aunt is not a casual woman. Although sometimes this girl looks very cute and has the nickname seductive goddess outside. But this is self-deprecating, everything is for traffic. Actually. Since you've had a good time with her, you know. Before that, she was a big yellow flower girl. In the entertainment industry, at the age of 32. Although we have half of the credit from our mother and son, it can also be seen from it how pure and self-centered Mimi is in private. She often tells me that the most beautiful night must be reserved for the man she loves the most. This girl can give you something in one go. It shows that she really likes you. Hey, it's all my fault. I know my son is so handsome and charming. It's because Jiaxing has been running out of money lately, which has caused my head to twitch. I even took out a loan to invest. You are my son, I cannot let you learn from someone and be a heartless person. Honey is my best friend, and I wouldn't watch her get hurt either. You can only take responsibility for this matter. We can't discuss it. Chen Jia said without a doubt. Li Zhongnan nodded abruptly upon hearing the words and said, okay, I will definitely take responsibility. Kid, you won't lie to me, will you? Chen Jia looked at him suspiciously, feeling that his son doesn't have a hint of conspiracy success. Mimi is so arrogant, can she really take a liking to this kid and throw herself directly into her arms? Doodle just then, her phone suddenly rang. As soon as she saw that it was Yang Mi calling, she immediately pressed the answer keyboard and said, Mimi, you and Zhongnan. Can you take Zhongnan with you when you have time to practice his lines or something? In a while, I want to arrange a drama for him to be a second and third man. Something, I can't ask. Sister Jia, I was just about to tell you. This child told me that if he doesn't like acting, he likes to follow me. He said it was me who protected him before, but now it's his turn to protect me. Well, you insist on being my bodyguard. I couldn't resist him and could only agree. Ahem, we just signed a 10-year contract. I forgot to tell you about this in advance, I'm really sorry. Yang Mi originally intended to call Chen Jia and tell him that Li Zhongnan had earned 20 million yuan and short all of the crude oil, and then asked her to persuade him to settle the situation and put him in the bag for safety. As soon as I heard about taking him, my head suddenly swelled. Forget it, I'm too lazy to bother. Well, it's okay. Young people's affairs are up to you to decide. Chen Jia forced a smile and said. Bodyguard, with this as an excuse, you can openly bring him around and create opportunities to be alone at any time. Sure enough, she's doing well, and I dare not let her best friend know. What's going on? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Only a few can make money. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The next morning, Li Zhongnan unexpectedly received a call from Yang Mi, asking him to pack his luggage and go to the airport to accompany her to Shanghai for filming. Currently, Damami is filming the TV series, Favorite Translator. We have reached the final stage so far. Okay. Li Zhongnan thought for a moment, but there was nothing wrong, so he immediately agreed. Arrived at the airport. In the VIP waiting hall, besides Yang Mi, he also met several uncles and aunts, including Luo Jin and Tang Yan, as well as Lu Shishir, among the crew members. In another parallel world, the male lead in this drama is Wang Xian, but now it has become Luo Jin. Female number 2, she used to be Li Shirue, but now she has become Tang Yan. Originally, this couple announced their relationship in 2016 and got married in 2018. In this world, it's only 2014 now, but they got married last year. Now Tang Yan is already a single wife. As for teacher Lu, he has remained single to this day. And after his contract with Tang Ren expired a few years ago, he returned to the capital and opened his own studio. The female lead in this drama is Yang Mi, and Shiye only plays in friendship. Zhongnan, did you earn 20 million by buying futures? Great. Upon seeing him, teacher Lu immediately greeted him with a smile. Chen Jia had already shared with her last night that his son had earned such a big deal of 20 million yuan. I just thought this nephew was very handsome, but I didn't expect him to be so amazing. With an investment of 3 million, I earned 20 million in a month. It's really amazing. Li Zhongnan smiled shyly and said, Aunt Lu, it's just luck. Teacher Lu, beautiful and elegant, with a worldly temperament, gentle and virtuous, his favorite female celebrity in his past life. It's a bit embarrassing to praise him like this now. As for Damimi, it's love, at a glance. I want to love fiercely. Luck is also a part of strength. Zhongnan, your mother and I invested in Crude Oil Treasure, but we have both suffered losses now. Are there any investment opportunities? Can you tell Aunt Shishir? Master Lu chuckled. Have, teacher Auntie, you flatten the Crude Oil Treasure and go short with your backhand. In the next month, crude oil prices will plummet. I have said this many times. Li Zhongnan's answer was very straightforward. Chen Jia did not join the group, but stayed in the empire to manage the operation of Jiaxing. By the time they returned from filming, it was estimated that a month had already passed. She's not afraid, she knows he's shorting crude oil. Will crude oil prices plummet? Master, who is this kid? He's a bit too arrogant, isn't he? $30 per barrel, this price has reached the foot of the mountain, how much more can it fall? Luo Jin walked over and said. He and Tang Yan both purchased Crude Oil Treasure, and are bullish on international crude oil. I was already suffering a lot, but last month I finally regained some health. But now he heard that there will be another sharp drop soon, how could he be happy? Luo Gu, he is Li Zhongnan, the son of Jia. Tang Yan explained. Oh, I haven't seen you in a few years, it's so old, Luo Jin smiled and said, Xiao Li, I know. You always read the script very accurately. But when it comes to investment, don't talk nonsense when you're so young. What if the teacher listens to you and makes a short turn, and when the oil price rises back, they won't feel depressed? Chen Jia's son is quite famous in her circle of girlfriends. It is said that he is a prodigy, and most of the scripts he has been interested in over the years are popular. And those who see the decline are basically going to the streets. As Tang Yan's husband, he knows this, but futures involve international economy, politics, and so on. A young man who is still inexperienced, how could you possibly understand? Zhongnan, Uncle Luo. Whether it's rough or not, crude oil. Now the whole world is bullish. It's impossible to fall again. Tang Yan followed along, and the husband sang along with the woman. Although she has a good relationship with Chen Jia, she has just married Luo Jin and is still in her honeymoon period, so she naturally has to stand up for her husband. Yes, everyone is bullish, and not many think it will fall. Zhongnan, please listen to our opinions. Yang Mi also walked over. There has always been a saying in the stock market. If the whole world is bullish, it means that stock prices will soon fall. Conversely, if the whole world is bearish, it will rise. Truth is always in the hands of a few. Especially in the stock and futures markets, only a small portion can ultimately make money. Li Zhongnan smiled and said. Does it seem very reasonable? Zhongnan, Auntie Shishir only trusts you once, backhand. Short. Lu Shishir initially had some disbelief, but after hearing his words, he immediately took out his phone and balanced all the multiple orders of his crude oil treasure. Then, buy short with a backhand. When I bought too much, it was $50 per barrel. Now it's $30. 10 million leaves 6 million. To recoup, you need to earn around 70 points. So, is the oil price going to drop to $9 per barrel? It's a bit difficult. Teacher Lu looked at his phone and estimated with his fingers. Li Zhongnan smiled confidently and said, Teacher Auntie, as long as you don't move your position to the September contract in advance and receive the settlement date on the evening, you will definitely be able to recoup your capital. Even earning 10 million back. Moving positions refers to closing the contracts held before they expire and opening new contracts for the following month. Really, that's great. If that's the case, Auntie I'll give you a car. Master Lu chuckled. Master, are you crazy to believe this little brat? Yang Mi said in silence. Yes, I believe him. Lu Shishir smiled slightly and said, in the eyes of her best friend Yang Mi, perhaps he will always be just a little kid. After all, she watched him grow up from a young age. But Shiye, she has long regarded him as a friend. This child is precocious. Okay, it's your money anyway. Don't cry with me after losing. Yang Mi snorted. P.S. Apart from the flowers sent by the website, hasn't anyone voted for one? May I ask for a fresh flower? As long as someone throws one today. Tomorrow is 10 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Teacher Lu was stunned, he could earn 900 million people. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Arriving at the East China Sea, it was already evening, and Tang Yan took Luo Jin home, while Yang Mi and Li Zhongnan lived in a large flat apartment that Lu Shishir had bought earlier. The next morning, Li Zhongnan acted as Yang Mi's bodyguard, following the crew around aimlessly. Just tired and bored, he just withdrew in the afternoon. Yang Mi didn't care about him, after all, she had several female assistants and didn't really need bodyguards. Signing a contract with this young master is just not about taking him to film. Lu Shishi took several shots and also left the production team. Returning home, seeing him holding his hand in the hall, bored with fighting against landlords, he immediately smiled and said, "Zhongnan, your first time in the East China Sea. Do you want me to take you out for a walk?" Playing alone with Shiye, Li Zhongnan suddenly became enthusiastic and said, "Okay, teacher, aunt, I can't help but beg for it. Zhongnan, when there's no one around, you can call me senior sister or simply master. After all, like you, I'm only 18 years old." Teacher Lu spat out his tongue and said somewhat playfully. Li Zhongnan smiled happily and said, "Okay, senior sister." To be honest, calling Lu Shishi auntie is also a bit awkward for Nan Gu. After all, counting only his past life, he is already 30 years old. For Demi, Nan Gu can still treat her as an elder, after all, he has been following her since he was 3 or 4 years old. Even shameless, pestering her to breastfeed a few times. And Lu Shishi, even though Demi is only 1 year younger, this girl has always given him the feeling of being a neighboring sister, even a younger sister. Well, be good. Teacher Lu pinched his face and then naturally picked up one of his arms. Take him out of the house. I have been in the East China Sea for almost 10 years, and Teacher Lu is very familiar with it. There is no place to eat or have fun, everything is clear. In the next month, whenever there is time, Shiye will take him out for a stroll along the Bund, enjoy a ferry night tour, and enjoy Disney played it all over. The relationship between the two is rapidly getting closer. And Li Zhongnan changed her title from senior sister to teacher the next day, but when a third person was present, it changed back to auntie. Both of them have a kind of the feeling of secretly falling in love. However, I have never crossed the line of friend. Li Zhongnan, he had never had a girlfriend in his past life, and even had no female friends. Although he wanted to make a breakthrough, he couldn't grasp her true thoughts, and the thought of being his mother's best friend, it's a bit timid. But Lu Shishi didn't think much, just felt like he was with him, happy and joyful. Of course, during this period, the two did not forget to pay attention to the futures market. Crude oil prices, without any surprises, have been falling all the way. Every few days, Teacher Lu would ask about his prediction of the next day's crude oil price trend. And his predictions are undoubtedly accurate every time. Zhongnan, you're really amazing. In the past month, Lu Shishi has said this sentence the most. On April 22, at 8 a.m. in Zhongnan, oil prices have really dropped to $12 per barrel. Lu Shishi woke up with his phone and excitedly walked into his room. A few days ago, when the oil price was $20 per barrel, he made a solemn promise, it must drop to $12. Oh. Li Zhongnan didn't even open his eyes and responded vaguely. My current floating profit is 3.6 million, and with another 400,000, I can recoup my capital. How much did you earn? Teacher Lu sat down and asked excitedly. The phone is by the bedside, you can watch for yourself, Li Zhongnan said as he flipped over, as if his hand had accidentally landed on one of her thighs. Well, you're not wearing stockings. What's up, pretending to sleep to take advantage of my sister? Lu Shishi knocked out his hand and picked up his phone casually. Position. Contract name. WTI crude oil 1405 type. By short available / total warehouse. 1777/1777 average opening price. $30,180, profit and loss per transaction, plus $308,000,000, floating profit ratio plus 1145.11% deposit. $2,666,403 $1, 2, 3. 8 digits, $301.8 million. Zhongnan, you've earned so much. Is it more than 2 billion yuan to exchange for RMB? Teacher Lu was stunned. I know he made money, but I don't know how much he has earned. It's over 2 billion yuan, no need to pay taxes. Shiye is a top-tier female celebrity who has been in the industry for 10 years, and she doesn't even make that much money in total. And he is only 18 years old now. The most important thing is that his initial principal was only 3 million borrowed by Demimi. I earned this amount in 2 months. It's really amazing. Teacher, it's just over 2 billion yuan. What's so surprising? Li Zhongnan has a bad airway. You're pretending. Ahem, Zhongnan, you're right. With your abilities, you'll eventually become the second Buffett. This little money is really not worth mentioning. Master Lu chuckled. Not pretending to be tough, but really awesome, I would rather be your boyfriend than the second Buffett. Li Zhongnan said in his heart. Zhongnan, the current crude oil price is already $12 per barrel. Do you think it will continue to decline in the future? Do I want to backhand long? Teacher Lu asked. It's almost the end of the line, but there will be another sharp drop in the May contract tonight, which is likely to drop below 0 yuan at one point, or even to $40 per barrel. If you want to go long, just close your current contract and open your September contract. Li Zhongnan said. Negative oil prices. Why? Lu Shishi asked in astonishment. The futures price is negative, which means that when you buy something, the seller still has to give you money. The more I buy, the more I'll give you. This is unbelievable. How many people believe it when you say it out loud? Half of the pots have to be attributed to Huaguo Bank, right? Teacher, many banks have recently launched Crude Oil Treasure, and most domestic investors are buying more, such as my mother, Luo Jin and his wife, and you before. The New York Stock Exchange changed its rules 2 weeks ago, allowing futures prices to be negative. According to my research, among these domestic banks, Huaguo Bank's risk control is very poor, and it did not help customers move their positions before the settlement date, nor did it provide corresponding reminders. This is a piece of fat. The bears on Wall Street won't miss it. They just need to spend billions of dollars in the last few hours of the evening to short and make a certain push, which will definitely cause bulls to stampede each other. Oil prices will plummet in an instant. $40 is just a number I predicted, not necessarily accurate. Li Zhongnan explained. At $40, your opening price is around $30. The last barrel can earn $70. And you, buying 1777 hands, is 1.777 million barrels. Can you make a total of $120 million? Teacher Lu was stunned. This 900 million renminbi. New book seeking support. Begging for flowers. Seeking evaluation votes. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Request all support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.